Tonga. The hashtag is Morning Express KTN. Good morning and welcome, and thank you for joining us, Erick Kiraithe, this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes. Now, you probably listened into some of the discussions that we had here with the gentlemen that were here before,
Yes.
and there are those who feel, I'm sure they represent a number out there, there are those who feel that we have a crisis in the country. There are others who feel there is no crisis and everything is on track. What's your take?
My take from the government position is that I must tell Kenyans that we made mistakes as a country. We made politics too lucrative that a university professor can find time to discuss politics perpetually. What I would want to pass to Kenyans very humbly, because as I listened to them, I asked myself, what is the observable fact? What is relevant in the life of a Kenyan, the Kenyan in Migoli today, the Kenyan in Meru, the Kenyan in Turkana, which they are putting across? I have asked one of them, and although we had about a minute, I never got an answer. Let me tell Kenyans that a process must be concluded when it is complete. The electioneering process, if you are one of those like me who voted for our Constitution of Kenya 2010, is now complete. That is behind us. Mm-hmm. Do we have people who feel things should have been done different? Do we have people who feel that they were supposed to be MCAs and they are not MCAs? Do we have Ranguma strongly believing that he should spend money because Anyang' Nyong'o is governor and he is supposed to have been the governor of Kisumu? Do we have Kivuti in Embu spending money and sitting in court because he believes he should have been governor and not Wambora? Do we have Kidero Evans believing that he got almost 600,000 votes, yeah? That it should be him and not Sonko? It is a crisis to the extent that Kidero, Kivuti, Wavinya Ndeti, Ranguma, and a whole host of them, and Raila Amolo Odinga, believe that they were supposed to be in certain positions and they are not there.
So you don't, are you saying then that there is no crisis? Or
along with their followers, these people are Kenyans. And so long as they feel they are in a crisis, then there is a crisis. As I have said in the past, politics always divide us depending on how you take it. If you take politics to be a matter of do or die, then you'll always be seeing a crisis where there is no crisis. The next question as a government we need to ask ourselves, politics divide us. There is no time a Meru will become a Luo or a Luo become a Kamba or whatever. Ethnic differences will remain there. This is not unique to Kenya. There are white South Africans who have never accepted that there is a government in South Africa so long as there is no apartheid. And I wish I could revisit a discussion I had with one white South African. I almost got convinced apartheid was necessary. That is besides the point. In this country, it is not only elections that we live on. Through an all-inclusive process, and during the burial of late governor of Nyeri, Dr. Gakuru, I heard Oparanya talk very passionately about Vision 2030. And this Vision 2030 talks about what brings Kenya together. Inadequate food production.
Okay.
Obsolete. Let me be through. I want us to, at least I have the benefit. I will come where you are. I have the benefit of being here alone. And since I'm from the government.
And by virtue of that fact, I also want to be involved by also just making sure that we keep focus of what we want to do. Now, from the government's perspective, do you accept that we do have a situation where the country is divided? And what is the government's plan to ensure that now that we have the Supreme Court giving their ruling, There's a predictable path that the Constitution gives us where the president will be sworn in on Tuesday. That's the 28th. But we still have a nation that's divided. What's the plan to ensure that we're together?
Mike, let me give you one thing, and I'm giving the assurance to this country. When you have an amiable president like Uhuru Kenyatta, he personally came out with a slogan for his political party.
Tuko pamoja.
Tuko pamoja. The unity of Kenyans is at the core of his heart, not the core of his rhetoric. And therefore, the responsibility, now that he is being sworn in, to be the foremost protector of the Constitution of Kenya, and the fact that national outlook and all these principles are there, and the fact that he is the president of Homa Bay. He is the president of Migori, Siaya, Kiambu, and all that.
That is all good.
I can tell you that a lot of time is being spent within the law to decide that as a country we move together.
And
I was going down to, I was bringing you down.
Allow me to just...
I will not allow you to limit,
not to limit
what I want to tell Kenyans.
Not to limit, but
yes,
the fact that it is all good on paper, that is all well said. But the question that some Kenyans would want to know is, now that we have a divided country, what is the way forward? How is this going to be? That now that he's the president of Homa Bay, like you've said, or Nyanza, the previous Nyanza province, how is that province going to feel that he is their president?
Well, they are going to feel it if we look at what unites us. And that is what part of my job as the government spokesman. If you are in coast, the cogwheels of social and economic development, what will put a little bit more money in your pocket? What will make your life a little bit more convenient? Are you able to access a computer tomography machine, CT scan, and other things which make your health services better at a place
local level
next to you? Can you see the Dongo Kundu? If you are traveling from Mombasa to Nairobi, if you were traveling a year ago, you would have paid 1,200 shillings and spent 12 hours on the road. Today, we are paying 700 shillings and spending 5 hours on the road. If we move at the pace we have been moving, and it is our desire, and you have fish in Kisumu, which you want to reach the market in Nairobi, because there are more people to eat and you make better money, are you able to pay 300 shillings and spend 2.5 hours on the road so that you come in the morning and go back in the evening? It is not whether Mike or Eric or Raila or Uhuru or anybody else in between is the president or not. It is the quality of life you will lead. Is it better? If you are living in Kisumu, is your concern to you that every coin that comes to the county is properly used, or you just bog down by saying that since Ranguma had substantial votes, we divide Kisumu into areas Governor Nyong'o will be governor and Ranguma will be governor, or Kabogo and Waitito? Is that what concerns you, or is your garbage corrected? Do you have clean water, even when it is just lying down there? Fresh water lake.
So in short, what you're saying,
so
what
we are saying,
resources, services?
Focus the people of Kenya into resources, into, we have a lot of joblessness. Has it gone?
Not yet.
When you start burning tires on the road in Kisumu, because you are destroying that tarmac, are you encouraging an investor to come and create 5 jobs? We are not talking about 200. Just removing 5 people who are jobless today and providing them with a payslip at the end of every month. Is that what we want, or we want to know who is the government spokesman? I have heard them talking about legitimacy. They have vocabularies. In fact, the demise of this country, if it will ever come, God forbid we are there with the government to ensure it doesn't come, will come because of theories. We create a word, legitimacy. Legitimacy is a very simple Greek word talking about integrity to the law, legis. We create words like credibility. Mike, I believe you or not believe you because what I think or I don't think. But there are basic facts that you will always prefer using one day from Moyale for your goods to reach Nairobi so that they can be sold. The people in Nairobi get more supply of meat, they pay a lower price, and you get more money.
All right.
When we build a tarmac road from Nairobi to Moyale, and they say now we need to crisscross Northeastern, we need the Lapset to go to Turkana, we are telling Kenyans we want to harness citizen power. Because as a citizen, you have the power, not the politician. You give the power to the politician.
All right.
We want to harness citizen power so that Kenyans can do what Britons, Americans have done to enjoy a better quality of life.
Allow me to pause you there because you've brought in a very important aspect, and that's citizen power, which is enshrined in the Constitution. However, and you have the benefit of having been a police or being a police officer. One of the things that we are currently facing in this country, and many are not happy about, is the force meted out by the police vis-a-vis their responsibility to ensure that there is peace. Now, for instance, if we take when Raila came into the country on Friday, there was already an announcement or a letter written to the police that this is going to happen. Demonstrations are allowed within the Constitution. What are your comments on how the police have handled this whole situation so far? And moving forward, because we do know that NASA have said they may have more demonstrations and their resistance movement and the National Assembly, so we are likely to see more demonstrations coming on. How do we have these handled within the confines of the Constitution, but at the same time, not necessarily with loss of life?
What I would want to tell you, Mike, is this. You have raised two very different issues. Resistance movements, and I want to tell Kenya this with very frankly, are movements that find it impossible to survive within a constitution. They operate outside the constitution. They operate away from the parliament, away from the judiciary, and therefore what a resistant movement means, even some funny MCAs who are passing some of those funny bills do not realize that they are negating their holding of the positions they hold. The minute you decide to operate away from the Constitution, and the Constitution is a law, it is not easy for all of us to fit within the law. A lot of us want to operate outside the law. But civilized societies, the idea of a government, the idea of a modern state is based on the fact that all of us must live within the law. What happened when Honorable Raila was coming back was not a demonstration. What I heard people's chest dumping, I carefully listened to Miguna and a number of others, is they are going to take 1 million people to the airport. Gitonga. If today I told you I'm coming here as 100 people in this studio, that I must be here with 100 civil servants, cabinet secretaries, permanent secretaries, policemen from government, so that I can sit here. You know that our cabinet secretaries are not rioters. They are not likely to carry slings. They are not likely to carry stones. But if I told you that, I am sure I would have met you there with a contingent of police officers to stop us.
Having said that,
the minute you go out and chest dump and say you are going to have 1 million people, of course that was deception. Even 50,000 people in an international airport. You are placing yourself in a position that you actually unleash mayhem. You are able to foresee you are creating chaos. The airport is an installation in travel, tourism, commerce, and hospitality industry. Look at it this way. Let me tell you. The minute I say I'm going to convert this into a baraza because I have a right of assembly, indeed I am the government spokesman. the dynamics change. It is foreseeable to me that you won't accommodate it. And therefore, having initiated your journey hence where you are headed, having initiated chaos, prepared for chaos, mobilized for chaos, you cannot sit. It's like putting pili-pili in a meal, then it's saying it is uneatable.
Okay.
You cannot start in an illegality and then continue claiming legitimacy when you are complaining. This is pure hypocrisy.
Granted. But we have pictures, and I'm sure you have seen them, of policemen stoning cars. These are cars of people who are going about their business. Really, what are your comments to that? Because really, there is no reason or excuse that would be given for a policeman who's throwing a stone at a car that is on its way, not even coming towards him or anything. We've seen those pictures.
I haven't been a policeman myself.
Like the one that is on the screen right now.
For a long time. And having seen what you are seeing on the screen, this is a matter which requires inquiry, 360 degrees. We need to know precisely what happened.
Is there really
and
something
we
to know,
have, we have an Inspector General who I know is competent, a stricter for procedure, somebody who really is interested in professionalism, and I know in the fullness of time, we shall know what happened. What I'm trying to say is that let us not concentrate on results of a process we have initiated.
And what process is that?
If you are coming from here and going to town, you will reach town. If you don't like it, too bad. The people who organized these things, mobilized people, paid them to travel from all over the country. You know, everybody, they were boasting. I listened to them and they were saying, me, I had 20. The other one was saying, hey, I brought 50. The people who organize these things are not even secretive. That we had 5 briefcases of stones, they cannot sit down now, come to a studio like this and start playing victim. The government will be civil. The government is working on improving the professionalism of our police officers. But for heaven's sake, don't stone a policeman, and when he responds, you start crying wolf. But policemen are men and women. When you hear that lives are protected, it includes the lives of policemen.
What would be the procedure of action for these police officers? Some of these we can see, you can clearly see who they are, and we can clearly see that vehicle, for instance, the black vehicle there, is nowhere within the confines of coming towards a policeman. So really, what should be the action that we should expect?
The action we should expect will be dictated by the facts on the ground. I know that evidence can be video, evidence can be pictorial. It undergoes a process. That policeman, as much as you are, is innocent until proven guilty. And there is a lot we need to establish before, as a government spokesman, I can give a statement. That is one incident I am promising Kenyans I'll give a statement on.
Can we hold you to account and hopefully you give us an answer once the investigations have been done?
They have been completed. It doesn't matter what this police service is, your police service, and we have a responsibility to tell you what is happening. What I would not encourage, and what I'm telling every policeman, is that rebels, resistant movement, Joseph Kony, Polisario, and all these groups have always been there who want to solve solutions out of the loss of their country. The policemen have the unfortunate responsibility, very unfortunate, to ensure that citizens vote. So I have heard people saying that people in certain counties refuse to vote. If those people were not willing to vote, why did NASA organize so much violence to stop them from voting?
Do we have fact that it's NASA that organized, or it was just people that came out to express their dissatisfaction?
Don't be very selective when you sit there. They said it very loudly. You never had Wanga? You never had a Nyang'i Nyong'o? Professor? If you never had these people, then we can end the discussion here. What I know is that I had them loud and clear. They never disowned it. Very clearly, Governor of Migori, a few other people. And after having had that, I saw lorries of stones put on the road. I saw dead dogs put on the gates of polling stations. Yeah? You know, witchcraft is also a factor in this country. We saw these things. And therefore, even it transpired in the Supreme Court that you cannot instigate a boycott of elections, actually forceful stopping of your people to vote. Then you come to cry foul. These are the kind of actions, Gitonga, we are talking about. That what I wanted to tell the policemen is that you are fortunate you chose the police career. In the past, we have had to fight Mungeki. We have had to fight terrorism, and we are continuing to do it. If people decide to operate outside the Constitution, unfortunately, others may protect the Constitution in theory. You will have to protect it physically. It is a risky affair. Remain calm. We have seen a lot of restraints so far. Remain within the law. But we are the people who ensure that when there is uprising, when there is insurrection, we restore law and order.
All right.
The government is committed to that. We shall continue doing it. What we are saying is that if you are in a position of leadership, also take responsibility for the progress of this country.
All right, Brother Kiraithe, we need to wind up because of time. We have a situation in the country where we are divided by virtue of the fact that half of the people who voted for the president, are there. There are those who did not vote. What is the government's plan and roadmap to ensure that come sometime in the future, we are one united nation? What's the government's plan for that unity to be felt on the ground?
What I know for sure is that as a country, the division is not as acute as imagined. There are leaders you never reconcile so long as they are not in power. But the duty of the government all the time is to engage their people, listen to their opinions, but more importantly, deliver the services, create an environment where the life of a citizen is easier to live, where there is food on the table, where there is a job, where the infrastructure, those things that make life work, where there is job creation, where there is no electricity, let's have some electricity so that the children can do their homework in the evening conveniently. Where there is no road and citizens are not able to get their produce to the market, do that. Where there are farmers wailing like in Machakos and parts of Lower Eastern to work their farms, but there is no water, build the Wake Dam. When we commission the dam, we have now started early in 2019, God willing. The lives of those people will change. Production of food will be easier. When we complete all the projects which are around the country, movement of goods and services will be easier. A Kenyan will have a few more shillings in his pockets. That is what will unite us. Otherwise, politics not in America. There are Americans up to today, by the way, if you don't know, who live in game parks. There are people in Canada, all over the world, who don't believe in governments. In Africa, it is worse. We have people in DR Congo who have been living in forest. Joseph Kony is dying in forest, an old man, without agreeing that he can become part and parcel of a political process. And therefore, as a country, the Vision 2030 stated it wants Kenya to become a middle-income economy where citizens enjoy a high quality of living by 2030. The Jubilee government, which has won again, I believe, mostly on account of that, has shown that we can have that even before 2030. Let us work together to do what Britons have done so that we don't keep running to their country.
All right, Bona Kiraithe, we'll have to wind up there because of time. Thank you very much for joining us this morning and, well, basically giving us the idea that the government has in terms of a plan for this country. And it is now 10 minutes to 9, time for us to wind up the show. Thank you so very much for keeping us company. And